like Mr. Rogers.
You gotta have the shoe and toss the one shoe over too.
Oh yeah.
Right. To put the sweater
Yes.
on, and then toss the shoe. And man, do you grow up on him too?
Yeah, I love Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers is great.
So you got to be a cool, just be peaceful. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. Said that in the first 20 seconds. All right, well, we're talking about not being a dick, and maybe we shouldn't be a dick about this, but artists who change their sound, record albums outside of what I would call their quote wheelhouse, and we'll get into that a bit more about what is really in an artist's wheelhouse. But you think of bands like Bon Jovi is getting ready to put out a brand new album, Forever. It's due out June 7th. Not just on this one, but obviously somewhere in the 90s, really changed their sound from what they were.
They changed their sound in fucking 88.
Yeah, yeah. You're saying from
88.
post New Jersey.
Yeah, not necessarily changed in a bad way, but it changed.
Yeah,
and that's fine because there's natural growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there is with that. But if we go up into like 2000 and Crush, it's really night and day different from.
There's two great songs on Crush.
There are.
What, Say It Isn't So?
And
right?
And it's My Life. Whatever the lead single was that was off.
Because
of that.
it seems that 3 records in a row.
Yeah.
Had a big hit like that. Oh, It's My Life.
Right.
And Have a Bad Day on Have a Bad Day record with the smiley red face.
Yeah.
I never not bought Bon Jovi records, and I just realized I don't like any of them past 88. And it's not bad, it's just I don't like it. And I've always been a giant Bon Jovi fan. It's not even that I want old Bon Jovi. There was just it's how it resonated to me. It's how it made me feel when I was a kid. And that shit, it's like you grow out of it.
Well,
it's like growing into Taylor Swift.
Right.
Taylor Swift up until 1989 had nothing that resonated, especially lyrically with me.
Mm-hmm.
So then 1989 forward, there's some great musical moments, and then lyrically, she's an adult now, so she's writing shit that most people can relate to.
Right. Actually, it broadens her fan base.
Yeah, so those first 4 Bon Jovi records, except for 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit, what a no.
Yeah, that
no
doesn't work for me either.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's a good record, don't get me wrong, but it's just average.
It's not, yes.
Yeah.
But, so those first bunch of records, there was something that resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, it just, I don't know.
Right.
You're repeating the same thing.
Well, I do feel that.
Every song is always.
I do feel that
35 ballads per record.
There's always usually the lead single is the rocker that's on there. Then there's the song that's Who Says You Can't Go Home, sort of the country pop with a little bit of rock thrown in song.
Never had country pop before.
Yeah, and then you've got a ballad on there. It's like
no, they have 35 ballads.
Right. 36 songs.
It's 10 songs, but there's 35 ballads
on it.
A country song and a rock song.
Right.
And it's such a click track.
The same rhythm, the same beat. For me, it's become very formulaic. Not that I don't like it. I still am a huge Bon Jovi fan. I'm going to buy this new album and I'm going to love it through and through. But I do feel it's very formulaic. And I would like for them to venture out and try some new things. And saying that, though, kind of goes counter to what my position, at least, is on all of this, which is I don't like it when bands change. I want them to sound the way that they did, the thing that drew me in. It's like Guns N' Roses. We love Appetite for Destruction, the Use Your Illusion albums. I like Chinese Democracy, but it is not Guns N' Roses.
It's not Guns N' Roses
It's a solo Axl Rose album. For what it is, I think it's a great album, but it is not Guns N' Roses. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear the hard rock blues sound that they started with. To me, that's why I know. And I will still stand by the fact that they are glam metal. But it's like, I want to hear that. That's what I fell in love with. That was the stuff that moved me, not this other stuff. And, U2, it's the same thing when they changed from being the more indie rock, college radio rock, whatever you want to call that early stuff that they were doing in the 80s before Octoon Baby. And,
Did you not like Octoon Baby? I thought it was a great change.
I didn't like it for a good like solid year or two, and then kind of came back to it and revisited it. And
I instantly loved it.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
me, man. I was like
Every song
the
on it hit me.
Fly. I was like, what the fuck is
if
this?
you take the imagery away,
yeah,
I'm okay with it. Once you start throwing that,
yeah, those big glasses and everything that he was doing, and then the
just
music videos.
I just want the music.
Yeah.
Same thing as people that wear masks on stage. I don't like it. I just want the music. U2, there's another great example, man. U2 really lost me in a lot of spots. Great songs on records, but then you take the song, the record they gave away.
Oh, right.
Songs of Innocence.
Yep.
Front to back, I love it.
That is a fantastic
And it took
album.
me 9 years. That came out in 2014. I didn't like that record until last year.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden I put it on. I said, "This is a U2 record," but it's what speaks to you.
That's true.
You know, there's bands that can continuously release music that you're gonna love because you love them no matter what. But as a fan, you got to call a turd a turd.
Yeah. I mean, you know, AC/DC has essentially made the same record over and over.
The last couple records I can't do. I own them, and I want to purge them from my wall to save some space. But
yeah, the last two albums I thought were good. You know, they're okay.
There's a passion missing. There's a fire. You know who still has fire? Sounds crazy. Dua Lipa. I can't wait for the new record. Little lyrical nonsense.
How many has she made?
But this will be her third record.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Exactly.
She's only on her
But there's
third
still
album.
fire. There's 4 years in between the last record.
Wait 50 years.
That's
and
all.
let's see
And
if she's got fire.
And there's the other end of it is, part of me now waits for when they're gonna fizzle.
Yeah. Right. With these new artists that we've fallen in love with, where will they be?
I want. There's fire. There's passion in
Yeah.
it. I don't feel the same passion in the last two AC/DC records. New Bon Jovi, and I'm not saying they're not passionate. That's just how it feels to me.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not shitting on artists' new records.
Well, and for me at least, the way I look at that is that I don't feel the passion within it because I think that it's sounding formulaic.
Okay.
I think AC/DC is writing what they think they want to.
I think it's subconscious though. Or do you think they walk into a room and say,
"We got to write like this"? Yeah.
This is 10. Here's 10 riffs. Let's make them.
Yeah.
Here's one riff. Let's make it 10 songs.
I think AC/DC is, yes, but Bon Jovi, I think he's just doing what he wants to do and he doesn't care.
I think John believes in what he's doing and writes the songs that he wants to hear.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
And hey, he's still
he's
selling out stadiums.
He's blowing people away.
Right,
People
so-
are freaking loving him, man. So it doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter. So he must be doing something right. I mean, even if the hardcore original fans aren't into it as much because it doesn't sound like the 80s, he obviously has tons more fans out there that do love this and probably think that this sound of Bon Jovi is the greatest sounding stuff and that early stuff is just an era.
Yes.
You know, that's not Bon Jovi, my Bon Jovi. That's just.
And then I feel like a dick because I want that era, but I don't want to be pigeonholed.
Right.
By how do I properly phrase that, right?
No, that's good. You don't want to be pigeonholed by either the media or the fans that you have to sound a particular way. Which kind of leads me to the next part of this, where Mick Mars, who just released his first solo album outside of Motley Crue, doesn't sound anything like either himself, meaning his guitar sound and tone, or the band of Motley Crue. Hard rock and roll, period. It's this modern metal stuff.
I think somebody was in a studio and it's a long lost shitty new metal band's 2001 release that Mick Mars overdubbed some guitar on.
Right. The supporting players on the album had all written an album and they couldn't get a record deal, so they went to Mick Mars and said, "Hey, do you want to join our band?" And he said, "Only if I can call it Mick Mars." They said, "Sure." I mean, is that kind of what Ace Frehley did with Steve Brown?
Listen, that Ace Frehley record kicks ass. Period.
I like that.
It's
album.
a good record.
It is a good album. I just don't think it sounds like Ace Frehley.
No.
And that one, though, I'm okay with because Ace still sounds like Ace when he's singing. They are still rock songs on there. There's just more melody and everything in it. There's more of what Steve Brown does with like Tokyo Motor Fist and
Steve
stuff
Brown's
in there.
Brilliant with melody.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I will take anything that Steve Brown does. But I would rather it have been called Ace Frehley and Steve Brown. Frehley Brown, or I don't know, give it a band name.
Freely Brown.
Freely Brown.
I am Freely Brown.
Right, exactly.
I am Brown Freely.
Right.
I think Freely Brown's better.
Yeah, I like that. That would be great. So that's my only complaint. I mean, it's a great album. Don't get me wrong, but it's this idea. You know, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and it's why should you as a musician, why should any musician be pigeonholed? And when I was saying, well, you know, they're making albums that are outside of their wheelhouse. Slash has his new solo album because it's not with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators.
I think that song sounds killer.
Yeah, and for me, I can't hear Slash in it at all. I don't hear his guitar playing. I don't, and Brian Johnson is singing, so we got.
It sounds like just a good song.
It is a good song, but it does. I am a fan of
Slash's name's
Slash
attached to it,
and Brian Johnson, and I'm thinking I want to hear AC/DC Brian Johnson, those vocals on there. And
you think they used AI?
No, I think they just.
Because how does Brian Johnson sound that much not like Brian Johnson at his age?
How does he sound that normal? I can actually understand every word he said. I can't understand anything he sings on AC/DC. And people have been saying, like, for years, like, oh, that's just because, you know, he's a Geordie, it's his accent, you know, that's how he sounds. Apparently he can sing completely normal.
Probably AI.
Yeah, right. It's not actually Brian Johnson on the album, or Slash.
No, it's
his record label just made an album for him. That'll be the future.
Bands that sound the same. L7.
Yeah. Bad Religion. Oh, you know,
I just fucking vomited in my mouth. And it's not shitting on
I
me.
love Bad Religion.
There's certain things that just grate you.
Okay.
They're one.
Okay.
But L7, they can release. There's differences in every record. The shit gets cooler.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. So somebody else is going to go, oh, it's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
But I think that L7 has continuously grown while still being able to punch you in the face with their massive riffs.
Yeah.
And their last record, Scatter the Rats, was no different. There is maybe a part stinker on there.
Yeah, I would argue there's none. I love that album top to bottom.
It's awesome. The one weird song that Susie sings. Shit.
I don't remember that. Maybe there is a stinker.
No, but it's not bad. It's just, it's different.
Right.
And now that I'm thinking about it, it throws the album off, but it doesn't, because it's actually a kick-ass song.
It gives you a little...
The Something Cafe.
Yeah.
Shit.
You'll remember. You'll wake up tonight in the middle.
It's going to come to me.
Cold sweat.
So, yeah.
Well, you got... So, I mean, there's bands like Overkill that have continued to sound like themselves all the way. Motorhead never changed their sound. Always continues to...
And then you also have complete... So then we have to go to individual.
Right.
The L7, the ladies in L7 and Lemmy, these are people that were the same person from the minute they came out of the womb till now or till death.
Right.
There's a lot to be said for that,
There
man.
is. True honesty.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
And they're also both artists who fought.
What do you mean?
Right? L7 might have had a good brief period where shit was rolling in and it was easy street.
Yep.
But then they went back to the fight.
Right.
Motorhead was so up and down.
Yeah.
Lemmy lived in an apartment his whole life.
I know. Rented an apartment.
So there was still... Never forget the struggle. Never forget the streets.
Yeah.
Those guys lived it. And I
maybe
think that adds to it.
Yeah, and maybe that's why their albums today, I mean, Overkill, they're the same way. It's, you know...
Bobby's,
he's got a big chocolatier, you know, that he does now, so I'm waiting for them to not sound like themselves. But I just mean, they've never had huge success. I mean, he might have some more money.
Have fought.
Yeah.
And just because you have a little bit more, then as we get older and we get a little bit more money, we're a little more cautious,
right?
But at the same time, a little more free.
Yeah, little things don't hold us up as much.
Yeah, and once you've been gifted the absolute windfall, your art suffers, man.
It does.
And not on purpose. You're not a jerk for it.
So Black Rose just put out a brand new album, Happiness Bastards. But let's go back to 1990 and 1992. Debut album, Shake Your Moneymaker, comes out. Straight up rock and roll. Amazing. 5 million copies. They can now do whatever they want. They make Southern Harmony Musical Companion.
Another brilliant
It's a brilliant
piece
album,
of music.
But it didn't sound, I won't say it didn't sound anything like
No.
but it didn't sound.
Two totally different bands.
Right. Two totally different bands.
How did that happen?
I don't know. And yet it was still a 2 million
Freaking
selling album.
awesome.
And it was great.
And then Amorica came and really threw both those records on their asses.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
Yo!
Right.
And it was that record.
Right.
The Black Crowes got better through 3 albums.
Through 3 albums, and I like Three Snakes and One Charm, but
I
that's
do,
where
but it
started
didn't.
to go, yeah.
It didn't.
What about By Your Side?
By Your Side is a really good record.
It's a return to form. To me, that was them trying
That
to come
was
back
Shake
to
Your Moneymaker Part 2.
Part 2.
Now, Happiness Bastards is Shake Your Moneymaker Part 3.
Yes,
but it
okay.
falls flat of where By Your Side was.
Yes, yeah, it doesn't quite hit the high that Shake Your Moneymaker did.
But so we take a band like the Black Crowes, who have constantly weaved in and out of whatever.
I mean, they've been blues rock, southern rock, jam band sounding.
That's why it's just rock, and they have grown.
Yeah.
And why are we okay with that?
I
We're
know.
shitting
Okay.
on 30 artists.
Take.
But the Crowes fucking do whatever the hell they want, and it
still sounds like the Black Crowes to me.
because there's a heart and a soul there that's different than I think other people have.
Well, okay, bands like I'm only thing that's coming to mind immediately is bands like LA Guns and Warrant, but glam metal bands in the early '90s after grunge hit, who literally changed their sound to make a grunge album.
That automatically discredits you as an artist in my book,
Yeah,
because
it's
now
not
you're
honest.
you're trying to make a buck. Life's
Right.
We all want more money.
Right.
But if you wake up to do shit just for money, but then again, there's fear. Oh shit, I had kind of a career and now my career's gone.
I better do this to stay relevant. I understand.
I understand it, but
I don't.
I like
them.
the people who never did that.
Yeah, I agree. Great White never did that.
Great White was just Great White. One of the best albums is Can't Get There From Here.
Yeah,
98, 99.
Yeah, 99.
Nobody.
I know. No one talks about it today.
That thing came out.
And it was
Rolling Stone came on. DHA was the first station to play it. Holy shit!
Yeah.
I went.
You got to pick this up.
I'm an overnight Great White fan.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. And I love those bands that continued and did that. The ones that changed up their sound. And, again, it didn't feel honest to me. And I sort of feel that's what is happening with the Mick Mars thing. Just wanting to make a modern sounding record. That could be the producer. That could just be where his mindset is.
You're not going to create. You're going to outdo.
Right.
And you're not going to outdo something you've done. You're going to outdo something somebody else is doing.
Right.
And you want to get there first.
Yeah. So, the other side of that, though, is artists who make the beeline, they change completely just to make that record of a passion or a sound that they like. And we had Aerosmith do Honkin' on Bobo, their blues album, Slash making their blues album. Rod Stewart did the Great American Songbook, all that, the crooning sort of stuff.
Well, he's 60 albums into a career, so
correct.
I don't give a shit what you do.
Right.
What else are you going to do at this point? Dylan did it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Right.
Dylan's Dylan, he's fucking just re-recording his own shit.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. He's done it all.
He's done it all.
Starting over.
He's starting over with his own shit.
Well, Taylor Swift is kind of doing that. Has she said it?
No, Taylor Swift is...
No, I know why she's doing it, but I just making a joke. Okay, and then there's artists like David Bowie, who changed all the time, right? Even nicknamed him the Chameleon.
And yet people bought it.
And we accept that.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan. I liked his industrial phase. I bought in it, but then I was very young. I was into Nine Inch Nails, and here came this, guy that Trent Reznor is saying is, this classic guy. Pay attention to him, and so I did. And maybe if I was a Bowie fan growing up from the late 60s, 70s, and so forth, and he did that, maybe I wouldn't have liked it. But,
all the people. So my parents were Bowie fans.
Yeah.
Their friends were Bowie fans. In the 90s, when I was a teenager, they were still buying those Bowie records.
Did. Okay.
They didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's where the absolute trueness, true being, true artist, just truthful human comes in.
Yeah.
Bowie was never anything but. The Crowes, never anything but.
But who they were, absolutely.
What's up, Jack? How you doing? It's to the individual. It's to the person. It's how the music makes you feel.
Yeah.
And it's what you like. We all have a bullshit detector. Some people are just well hidden.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for me at least, when the bullshit meter registers on some of these things. It's just not being authentic. I guess that was the word I was looking for. I kept saying honesty. It was,
because your life has changed.
Well, right.
So
it might not be authentic for me in my
the
era.
authenticity that got me through then is not getting me through now, and that's where another artist picks up on. Now, I'm not comparing or saying they're the same person, but why in my 40s am I now?
Why are you listening to Taylor Swift and
Dua Lipa, right? Because maybe that music is just as fun and hard-hitting as Bon Jovi was up until 88.
Right, and it has the authenticity.
What's up, man?
Has the authenticity in what you used to feel in Bon Jovi and these other bands. Even though it's different style music, it's authentic, and that's what's registering. And that might be true. Maybe that really is more what it is when music clicks with us. The authenticity, the honesty of it, than really all just sound. Because there's tons of bands out there that sound the same, sound like the way that we like that music. I can find 100 Bon Jovis and AC/DC replica type bands.
And my thing is, I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't feel real to me.
Yeah.
If it doesn't feel real, then I'm gonna. And it stinks for me to have to say, well, it's garbage, but because it's not garbage to you, it's not garbage to that guy.
Right. But
and I'm trying to find a better word to use than saying, but one man's coffee is another man's tea.
I was just gonna say, one man's trash is another man's gold, right?
There you go.
It's so true, and bands are that way, artists are that way, and artists, they want to. I understand that at a certain point in their career, they want to do what is interesting and exciting to them. So branching off, making albums that are fun for them, that keeps them interested and exciting.
That's all that matters.
That's all that really matters.
Exactly.
So, all right, you guys make a decision out there, and I think a lot of you have in terms of like the new Mick Mars and some of these other albums that are coming out.
I'm happy they're still doing it. I'm happy these guys are
just glad they're making albums.
They're out there playing.
Right, they're making music, and to me, as long as you're making music, whether I like it or I don't like it, that's the key.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.